Hello everyone, Mike Arnold here, co-founder of Path Trading Partners along with Bob Iacchino. So, taking a look at Ethereum, finally broke through the 857 level, so that one was all done. Coming up 884, pausing there briefly, didn't quite make it to our 915, got stuck out just above this major cluster, 890 to the 900 level. All these levels are done, came back closing on the bottom rotation zone and returning to the 62.5% GAN level. Pausing there briefly, we got the hooking over rotation zone, again breaking a trend line, watching for a bigger pullback. We have a key support area coming in here along with the 796, so essentially we watch for the 800 level, seeing if that holds. If not, we have our cluster at 779, and then the next major cluster at 737. What we don't want to see is a close below 694, like I've mentioned in the other videos if you've been watching those. Sort of same setup here. So that's what we're going to be watching for. Again, once this does find a bottom and rotate back up, you can do a reverse GAN box for the higher prices. You can also come from the defining point on the trend line, coming back up here, and we can fine tune that level once we get a bottom in here. Let's look at the daily on Ethereum. So, again, it always helps if I expand it so everybody can see it. Still in the declining rotation zone. Also, nearly got up to the declining 50-day exponential moving average. So you can roughly see where this is sitting on the daily basis. And your next major cluster down here, we have that minor support at 800 and the next major support, that 780 level, which is also the low of this candle, and the prior little shelf here, which was resistance, now becoming support. So that's the first major level I'd be targeting, unless we just get an aggressive rotation back up off of one of these other levels. So that's what we're watching for in Ethereum. Again, we're being very, very patient because it still has not been able to make it through the rotation zone, and now it's now pulling back quite substantially. So again, watch for a bottoming reversal pattern before just jumping in and constantly buying this. We have to judge to see how severe this pullback is going to be. That's why we are waiting for like either a divergence pattern at a key level or a double bottom. And those are the two major ones we've talked about. We wouldn't be looking for a spike blow off low because this isn't a major decline anymore. Switching over to Monero, so we had a potential double top here that did not trigger. So those levels are not valid anymore. And we have to update our pullback level. Now you see here it ran up to our next major cluster, this 268 area, and then stalled out there. Now getting the bigger pullback. So that is also done. On these two, we'll recast those later once we get the rotation back up. And like the other ones we've talked about, we can go from this high down to the pausing candle. It gives us a cluster right around this 232 level, 231, 232 that we'll be watching for. Right now, this one's holding slightly stronger, is in the rotation zone, has not moved back down. Now, if it just rotates back up from here, the first key level you'll be watching for is this 254 for it to get back above it. This was resistance, dead close on it, broke below it, tried to poke above it, then sold off from there. So that's going to be key resistance. That's what we'll be watching for to see if it gets above there. If it gets back above there, then we'll be watching for 269. And I can do a quick projection here. We'll also do a reverse GAN box, which we can't do yet because we don't know how much the pullback's going to go. But that gives us our next major cluster. Look at that. We get a minor cluster right here at about 272, 273, and a major cluster at 278. So on these pullback levels, again, this 231 level, then we're watching for about the 224, which is also resistance. That's going to turn to support. And on a bigger pullback, again, this 50% level 209 lines up with resistance becoming support again. And what level we don't want to see a close below is 194. This also did break a trend line. For some reason, my trend lines keep disappearing off the charts. I put them back on, but it was just an upsloping trend line that you can pretty much imagine. But it's more important we check it on the daily chart to see where the daily rotation zone is. And look at this. This is why you also have to use, well, you don't have to, but we recommend using multi-time frame analysis. Our two major time frames are the 4-hour and daily. Then we'll also throw in the weekly for bigger moves, and we'll look for to fine-tune things on the 1 hour. All right, so you can see here, dead stop pretty much at the top of the rotation zone, now getting the pullback. So it gets into bullish mode. If this does rotate back up, hit these other levels, that will be above the rotation zone. That means the rotation zone is officially broken, and this major sell-off is probably done in Monero. It hasn't been able to do that. That's why we're watching to see how far this pulls back. Again, just like Ethereum, Bitcoin, in the whole Bitcoin series, I said we're watching for a reversal pattern like a divergence or a double bottom before we're going to jump back in, and give it some time to see how far this pullback is going to be. If we do find some major pattern that shapes up, we'll try to get a video up for everybody. Hope everyone's having a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.